What is up, brothers and sisters? Welcome to the Mitch Gray Show. It is awesome to have you listening once again to our podcast. Remember, if you have not subscribed, to make sure you subscribe to the Mitch Gray Show wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. Our downloads are increasing monthly, and that makes me very happy. So thank you to those who are downloading our show. Oh, we have so much good stuff coming to you. I just want to tell you everything that's going to be happening, and I can't tell you. Some of it has to remain a surprise. So I am revealing a few things slowly that will be coming in 2019. So if you don't follow us on social media yet, make sure you do that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, M Gray Media. And just a few days ago, I made the announcement that we're going to be coming out with a new album soon. And I actually posted the artwork to the new album cover. You get to see cool stuff like that. We have some great guests lined up for 2019 for the podcast. And so what's going to be happening is I'll continue to do the weekly podcast, and we have some really great topics that we're going to be focusing on. In 2019, I want to really shift to kind of some specific step-oriented podcasts, some material that will give you some actionable, applicable steps to doing some great stuff in your life. And so every week you will get a new podcast to download. Also, we've got some great guests lined up, as I mentioned before. And so the plan is to have 2 guests a month on the show. And so every week you'll get the normal podcast, and then 2 times a month you will also get a show with a guest. So that's 6 to 7 podcast shows a month. That's crazy, and we're really excited for it. We're doing all we can to inspire you, to give you some steps in life, to make those dreams become reality, to take a new risk, to do whatever you think you need to do to live your best life, to live your most healthy life. And we really want to start sharing with you other people's stories and other people's knowledge and wisdom. And so that's why we're expanding our guest list, is because there are so many awesome people out there. Some of you that are listening to this, there's so many awesome people out there like you who are doing some really cool things. And I think when we can share the story of what we're doing as a community, all of a sudden it inspires us, and it makes us it kind of gives us courage, right? When you hear that someone else is doing something, it makes you go, yeah, I can do something as well. So that'll begin next week. Actually, this week, I'm sorry. We're recording and posting this on December 12th. Actually, tomorrow we have our first guest for kind of this new way that we're doing things. And then we have another guest lined up for next week. And we've already got a couple of guests lined up for January. And so it's a really, really fun time. And I want to give you the opportunity. There are so many of you that are listening to this show that are doing really cool things. If you're interested on being a guest with me on the Mitch Gray Show, I would love to visit with you and see if that is a fit. To see if kind of the story you want to share is along the lines of what we're trying to do. And if it is, I would love to have you on the show. So make sure you're subscribing. I know there's people that listen to the show because they follow a link. Make sure you subscribe. I know there's other people that listen to our show on YouTube. Please make sure you subscribe so that you can stay up to date on what we're doing, because we have so much good stuff happening in the coming year. Okay, on to today's episode. So normally each week on social media, what I do is on Instagram specifically, is I'll put out a poll to let our followers choose between 2 different topics. But for the last 3 weeks of December, I'm doing something a little bit different. I really want to kind of sit in this idea of how you can make your dreams and your ideas come true. And it's not some we're going to Disneyland come true. I want to really get to the heart of what you can do, no matter where you are in life, to take some actionable steps toward making that dream that's been within you become reality. And it takes years, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, I'm just going to be upfront with you. Sometimes it takes decades. There are things that I dreamed of doing 15, 20, 25, 30 years ago even, and they're just now starting to gain traction. And so we're going to talk about that over the next few weeks. So many times, and I've gone through seasons in my life where I've done this. So many times we set this expectation that whatever we're dreaming of or whatever goal we have should happen really quickly. And we set this unrealistic timetable expectation. And then when it doesn't happen, it's almost like we just give up in one form or another. And unfortunately, I've gone through that. Fortunately, I had the courage and the wherewithal, mostly because other people encouraged me, but I was able to kind of get back to what I love and what I know and who I am. But I talked to so many people and I witnessed so many people who are so talented and they have such a gift and they have such a passion, but they just don't yet have the courage to step forward. And that's okay. I'm in no way saying that in a condemning manner, but I am saying it to point it out. You know, it's one thing to know something about yourself or someone else and kind of stick your head in the sand. It's another thing to actually be a true friend to yourself and a true friend to someone you love and say, look, you have this gift that is within you. I want to help give you the courage to unwrap that gift, to explore it, to discover it, to work on it, to make it something better, to polish it up. That way you can present it to the world. And I've been very, very fortunate to be able to work with a few people and to kind of act as their facilitator in polishing that gift and even discovering more things about that gift and then offering it back to the world. And it's a beautiful thing when someone summons the courage to work on the gift that's inside them, to work on the dream, to work on the passion. And it's even another thing to see them summon the courage to actually offer that gift to the world, because it's not easy. Brothers and sisters, it is not easy to dig deep within yourself. It's not easy to face rejection. It's not easy to hear no. It's not easy to hear that you're not good enough. Those are not easy things, but if you believe in your dream, if you believe in your passion, if you believe in what you're wanting to do, then what those no's and that fear and those you're not good enough to become is they become even greater permission to keep pursuing what you're doing. Some people say that those no's become the motivator. I don't function from that perspective. I don't function from letting negative feedback fuel me. What I function from is when you tell me no, what you're actually doing is giving me even more permission to continue to explore and to reflect and to push forward. So it's kind of a mind Jedi trick for myself, because I just don't function well from being motivated by negativity. I function better from being motivated by confirmation and affirmation and encouragement. So that's just what I do for myself. But I'm not saying it's wrong. There are a lot of successful people who have said your no's and your rejection fueled me. If that's you, you have to find your key to life. You know what I mean? Like, you have to find what's going to fuel you and move you forward. And so those are the things that we want to talk about over the next few weeks and that we really want to press into in 2019. So today, in this episode, what I really want to visit about is the power of dreaming. The power of dreaming. We all have these dreams, right? They're different. Maybe they're motivated from different ways, like we just talked about. Maybe they were born from different perspectives. But we all have these dreams. There's not a single person that has ever walked the earth, is walking the earth, or will walk the earth that has not had a dream. The difference is there are people who have had a dream and done nothing about it. And then there are people who have had a dream and tried and considered it failure, so they stopped. And then there are people who have had a dream and continue to move forward within that dream. But everyone has a dream, whether it's a passing thought or something that you feel like came to you as a child, or maybe as an adult, you got an idea and you wanted to try something, or maybe you work at a place, and as you're working at a place, you figure out a way that it can be more Every single person that has ever walked the earth, is walking the earth, and will walk the earth has had a dream. The question becomes, what will you do with that dream? Will you just let it sit? Kind of like when you build a fire. You put the logs on the fire and you get them burning, and for a little while they provide heat, but then soon they burn away and they just become coal. Now you can use that coal once it's kind of still hot, and you can light a fire again, or you can just let it burn out, and then you have to clean it out and throw it out with the trash. Dreams are much like the logs on the fire. You could also put the logs on the fire and never start it. So then all you do is have pretty logs on the fire. Well, you might as well have gone and bought a new TV that has a log on the fire picture on it. Like it's doing nothing. It's in fact, that TV with the fake logs on the fire is better off than your logs in the fire that aren't burning. The purpose of logs on the fire is to provide warmth or to cook. Or maybe if you're out camping, the purpose of logs on the fire and burning that fire is to keep animals at bay. There's all kinds of reasons, but if you never start the fire, then all you have is logs. And sure, they look pretty after a while, but soon enough they get cobwebs. Or soon enough, animals come and maybe steal them and take them and use them for a different purpose. So the question is your dream, have you just put logs on the fire, or have you actually burned it? And then as you burn it, are you continually placing more logs on the fire? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are fueling you, with music that is fueling you, with art that is inspiring you, with things like this podcast that will continually keep your mind thinking and feed your soul? Or are you just going to let those first offerings of logs just burn away and become coal? And then they become ashes. That's the question. The great thing is life is always a fireplace, and it'll never not be a fireplace. And so at any point in time, you can go chop some wood and you can bring logs in and restart that fire. That is the beautiful thing of life. Number one, about the power of dreaming. Dreams, my brothers and sisters, tell your truth. Dreams tell your truth. When you look at what your dream is, when you look at what your idealism is, when you look at what your passion is, what you're really doing is seeing a reflection of who you really are. I would dare to say, and I would put all my money, I don't have very much, but I would put all the money I've got on the table and say that every single person's dream is always something positive. Now, the manifestation of that dream may turn out to be negative, but it's not because the genesis of the dream was negative, but it's because the reaction to the dream became negative. But every dream, you can look at all the devastating travesties in the world, and you can trace the dream back. And almost all the time, the origin of the dream was positive. It's just that the human that had been given that dream manifested it in a way that became negative. But the dream, my brothers and sisters, it tells your truth. It tells your story. It is a reflection of who you really are. And so it takes time and effort to sit with your fire. It takes time and effort to put logs back on, to rekindle the flame. It takes time and effort to clean the fireplace and to really get it organized and get it ready and strategize and plan. But brothers and sisters, that's what it takes to make the dream reality. It does not just happen. I grew up in an environment that basically told you that if you believe in God, then God will answer your prayers, and thus God will make everything happen. What I've learned is that's not the way it works. You can believe in God, and you can believe in the divinity of this great being, and that this divinity created humanness in its likeness. You can believe in all of that, but if all you do is sit on the couch and eat potato chips, you're going to become an obese diabetic. That's just how it is. If you have a dream and you have a passion, but you believe in this God, this divinity, that's perfectly fine. But if you never do anything with it, this divinity will never do anything for you. That's just the way it works. And it just is. And I came from that perspective. And so for years, what happened was I thought if I just do the minimal effort, that all of a sudden God is going to come in and open doors and make things happen. Sure, a few things happened, but nothing that was really astounding because I didn't put the work ethic into it. I didn't put the pride and the humility balanced together to make the perfect mixture of effort. I didn't put that into it. I just thought it was going to happen on its own, and it does not work that way. Again, my brothers and sisters, you can put the logs on the fire, but if you don't light the match and get the kindling burning, those logs are not going to catch fire on their own. It just doesn't work that way. So take time with your dreams. Spend time focusing on them. Share them with a few trusted people and allow them to give you feedback. Allow them to ask you questions. Because those dreams, when you're dealing with them, when you have those dreams in the palm of your hand and you're shaping them and you're molding them, what you're really doing is you're shaping the narrative of your truth. And your truth is formed from your experience and your background and your knowledge. It's formed from those who raised you at an early age. It's formed from all of that, creating your perspective on life, your perception of life. And so when you're looking at your dreams, what you're really doing is holding a mirror up to your soul and you're seeing your truth. No one else's, but yours. So be careful with those dreams. Be a good steward of those dreams. And brothers and sisters, light the fire. Don't let it sit dormant. Light the fire. Number 2, about the power of dreaming. Dreams are the great motivator. When you light that fire, when you throw more logs on, when you meet with that circle of loved ones and friends that are honest with you, when you have the ability to sit with yourself and get to know yourself, when you have the ability to and the courage to sit with your dreams, to sit with your truth and listen to all that's coming into you, the good, bad, and the indifferent, the past mistakes, the successes, the whatevers, when you take all of that in and look at the scope of your life and you're looking at the reflection of your truth, that then becomes the great motivator. There is no denying that. The question becomes, what does it motivate you to do? Does it motivate you to continue on? Does it motivate you to summon even more courage? Does it motivate you to take even more risk? Does it motivate you to give even more effort? Does it motivate you to better yourself to the point that you can become stronger mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically so that you can manifest this dream to its fullness? Or does it motivate you to be doubtful? Does the intimidation of your truth motivate you to not care? Does the intimidation of your truth motivate you to give up? The question isn't, does it motivate you? The question is, what does it motivate you to do? Because if the dream is your truth, then your truth is born with you, lives with you, and will die with you. So how will you allow it to motivate your actions and your words and your knowledge and your wisdom and your growth and your evolution? Dreams are the great motivator. You have the superhero power to wake up every morning and decide how it will motivate you. Number 3, dreams are your beginner's mind. Dreams are your beginner's mind. I talked quite a few months ago on another episode about the beginner's mind, and it's a great teaching. You mostly see it in those words in the Buddhist teachings, but you actually see the beginner's mind an idea in most religious teachings, in most peace teachings, and most teachings about mental health and emotional health, and especially spiritual health. And the beginner's mind is this idea that if we can take ourselves to the place of the genesis, of beginning, maybe the best way to think about it is when you were a child. You had no fear. You had no worry. You would dive off the swimming pool, the diving board into the 12 feet water, even though everyone's telling you no, because you were adventurous and you were curious and all you wanted to do was live life. Maybe you would see a spider or a snake or some other type of animal, and some of us were so curious and adventurous we would just go grab it, or maybe you just did different things, right? The beginner's mind is this idea of giving ourselves that opportunity to just be curious and explore, to find that place of innocence, to find that place where we were so childlike that we knew we didn't know the answers, and so all we did was spend our time hunting for them. That's the beginner's mind. It's a place of peace. It's a place of no fear, of no worry, of just simply being present in that very moment. And dreams, my brothers and sisters, are your beginner's mind. When you find yourself sitting in the middle of your truth, of your dreams, you all of a sudden kind of become, present in this place where it's just you. And all you're doing is dealing with yourself. And then all of a sudden it raises this idea of curiosity and of what if and the power that what if can bring. All of a sudden it brings about this innocence of life that I'm not going to worry so much about the end or the means, but instead I'm going to worry about the now. Because all there is this very moment. Sure, we have to deal with other things, but when it boils down to it, all there is here, now, you. And when you learn to be fully present in the here and the now and the you, it just kind of seems that everything else works itself out. Your dreams are your beginner's mind. They're the place that you can be childlike. Your truth is the place that you can reshape and reshift the things that you would rather do away with. It's also the place that you can explore and dive into the things that you may not know or have never allowed yourself to do. The beginner's mind is the place that you can just approach life with zeal and passion. You can create anything you want. And that is what lies within your dreams, the power to create anything. Now you can see why all of a sudden I say,